get there. And that's what the planters are there exactly for, and you know it. Over 250 of them is just absolutely ridiculous. This is not my problem to solve, though. It's your problem. I just need to report it to you. You need to do your job. You need to be judicious and resolute in your finding. These actions need to happen. It is your issue that you are not acting. You are being complicit and culpable. So you need to make this happen. Thank you, and I yield back my time.
Thank you, caller. Next caller on the Zoom is caller Gigi's phone. If you could go ahead and unmute yourself, you'll have 2 minutes for your general public comment.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so they touched on the planners and the permits. I'm going to bring up two other things that I think are part of your jurisdiction. I might be wrong, but I spoke about the tunnels last time. I think that's something you guys can take care of, or assign someone to take care of, or do some type of investigation into. But there's another issue that might be something you can do. There's a wooden post or huge wooden log on the curbside in the road on Franklin at Bronson, and it's just west of Bronson, right in front of La Poubelle restaurant or bistro. And it's been there for months, just sitting there in the loading zone. And there's like a cone, maybe two cones sometimes, little tiny orange cones, but it's very hard to see at night. And I've noticed that some people try to still pull in there to go get their DoorDash or whatever from the restaurant, and then they can't because there's that post. I'm worried someone's going to drive into it, wreck their car, and then they're going to sue the city for the damage because that's on the city road, the public road. So can someone look into that log, huge telephone looking log in the loading zone? It's also by a mailbox too, right there on Franklin and Bronson. Like, it should not be sitting there. There seems to be no reason for it. And it's just been there for at least 4 months, I think. So if someone could look into that. And planners, permits, I'm done.
Thank you, caller. Next caller on the Zoom with their hand raised is Kelly. Kelly, if you could unmute yourself, you'll have 2 minutes for your general public comment.
Good morning. Hello.
Good morning.
Yeah, planners, permits, tunnels. I am just going to speak on the broader perspective again, whether it's within your capacity as board members or in your off time. I'm just calling on humans to do whatever they can within their personal and professional capacity to stand up against the corruption, the child abuse that happens, the trafficking that's going on through the abuse of the R1 visa system, the inhumane workforce that Scientology has. And again, I'm grateful for what's been done, but yeah, I think there's 3 less, so we're at like 249, 248 planters. Again, just a reminder, I speak of these things because I like to remind organizations that they can't do whatever they want whenever they want, and planters or human trafficking, it's all abuse, it's all corruption, and it's all because they have a lot of money that they've gotten away with it for so long. So I urge you as humans on Earth to do what you can. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. Next caller with their hand raised is caller TTB. If you can unmute yourself, you'll have 2 minutes for general public comment.
Hello, can you hear
Yes,
me?
go ahead.
Okay, sorry, it's the first time caller. It gave me extra prompts. I just want to thank some of the other callers and the live streamers who come in and do this because they show us how to do this type of thing, and it's encouraged me to call in for the first time. I want to speak about the Scientology organization and, of course, planters permits. they have placed, of course, as you've heard, approximately about 250. I think maybe a couple are gone in front of a local business that also complained. Some non-ADA compliant planters. They're on the public easement left on LRH Way in Fountain. This past week, though, they called the police on someone who was putting flyers on the planters that are illegal planters left on public property. So if I put private property on public property, I don't expect it to be there when I get back. Like, I don't expect it to be in the same condition when I get back, much less 4 months later. This is not, they don't have permits for them, of course. You guys know all of this. So I don't understand how they can call the police, claim that they're theirs, and threaten to have them ticketed or arrested for defacing private property when it's left on public property. So they're misusing the police system because they have abandoned basically these planters on this public property. So there is zero reason for them to call the police on someone and threaten to get them in trouble. I won't be surprised if we end up seeing some people if anybody has done this, will possibly get a ticket, or the city attorney will pick up some kind of a vandalism charge because this has happened before with them. They place illegal property on public property and then call the police and have people tied up in litigation as a form of what they call fair gaming. So I think it's fair game if their property gets defaced. I'm sorry. So this corrupt organization needs to be ticketed, fined, and charged for removal immediately. And that's all that needs to happen. Like, there's no other thing. Ticket them, fine them, make
Thank
money
you,
off
caller.
of them.
That's 2
They
minutes.
can be illegal.
Our next caller on the Zoom is caller Kelly Mims. If you could go ahead and unmute yourself, you'll have 2 minutes for your general public comment. Caller Kelly Mims, you'll have 2 minutes for your general public comment. One last call. Last call for Kelly. Kelly, you should be able to unmute yourself now. You'll have 2 minutes. Kelly, we'll come back to you. We have other hands raised. Next hand raised is caller Juju. If you can unmute yourself, you'll have 2 minutes for general public comment.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Hi. I come here pretty often, and Audit and several others have been coming for 6 months, and we haven't seen any cooperation with this board or anybody in the city. We just would wish for at least one action to be taken to show us that you are working for the public, for the community. Get rid of the planters. How hard is that? It's clearly a violation. 250 planters in a 1 block radius going completely around, blocking ADA access, blocking parking, blocking the easement and access to the sidewalk. It's just egregious. And I just don't understand how difficult that is when you guys have the power to get things done. Speak up. At least give us a good faith action or something to show that you guys are there to protect the public, to hold these people accountable for things that they are taking advantage of and clearly violating the public's access and the public's right of way. Thank you, and I hope to see some changes coming up, and I really don't think that is too much to ask for a first start. Please do something. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. Caller with the hand raised, Amy's iPhone, you'll have 2 minutes for general public comment. Once you unmute yourself, go ahead.
Hi, good morning, good afternoon, or whatever it is today. I'm reiterating again that you guys have to remove the planters. I'm glad you put us in the front for the public comment because it was totally inappropriate and it was very fascist this week. And I'm glad a lot of people are going in your board because we need to see those planters go and have the rule of law come back to the land of LA because it doesn't look like it. As I said last time, you really need a clean slate, like tabula rasa. You know what that means? We learned that in school. We just need a blank canvas on the whole city of Los Angeles, so that things go back to the way they should be, like in flyover country. Because you are absolutely in a bubble and not researching the crimes of the Scientological cult that you are protecting, and that you will be judged by history if things happen and you get exposed and that you did not stand up for the right thing, because that's the right thing to do, is we do the right thing. I yield back my time.
Thank you, caller. Next caller with their hand raised is caller Zoom user. If you have general public comment, you'll have 2 minutes.
Hi, I just am totally baffled at the audacity of you people hearing these things over and over again. I can't imagine how this can continue. I am one of you don't know how many people that are watching, not only live, when it's reposted, people watch it after, and you continue to do nothing. Nothing. What is going on? Is this downhill and you guys are just getting piled on? I'd do something about that if I were you. I yield back my time.
Thank you, caller. Caller with their hand raised, Kelly Mims, if you can unmute yourself. We're going to try one more time. Go ahead and you're unmuted. You'll have 2 minutes.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
I'm so sorry, it's my first time doing this. I wanted to say, I'm not homeless, but I do live in my van, and I do park it near Scientology sometimes because I feel safe there. But I no longer feel safe because there's tunnels under me in that big blue building. And one morning I'm afraid I'm going to wake up inside the tunnels with a bunch of Scientologists. I just need y'all to work on these tunnels. The planners, add those into it. They are so heavy, the sidewalk's cracking. I mean, if that's not a given that it's fixing to fall in, I don't know what is. But there are elderly and young children in there who are innocent. They're being trafficked through these tunnels. Please don't wait to be fired from this committee to do something. Do the right thing. Scientology is a cult. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. Vice President Villegas, that's the end of our comments on Zoom. I believe we have a few more.
Thank you. Yes. We have 2 comment cards still for general public comment, and we will call Mr. John Reamer back.
Good morning again. Thank you, board. Wanted to rise and acknowledge Commissioner Mike Davis, President Pro Tem, for his years of service to the Bureau of Contract Administration. Selfishly, I'm speaking of the Bureau of Contract Administration. Once again, John Reamer, the Inspector of Public Works. Commissioner Davis, you have been a passionate advocate to ensure equity in the contracting procurement process. And I will always remember your slogan, we inspect what we expect. And your willingness to push the envelope, to make sure that prime contractors made it a point to spread the net, if you will, and open opportunities for all businesses, not just those that historically had been doing work on government contracts. And with small businesses, minority women-owned businesses, local businesses, making sure prompt payment was taking place. You made that a key point for you. Through the years that we've served together, I just watched you always publicly make it an issue and make it known to everyone who would hear that it's so important for all of Los Angeles to have a part in this. So for the many years that you've served, the men and women of the Bureau of Contract Administration, we want to come here this morning and just acknowledge your years of service and thank you so very much from the bottom of our heart, praying nothing but the best for you as you move forward. I have no doubt you will continue to reflect and represent this community in the passionate way in which you do, and we will be the better for it. So God bless and thank you very much.
Thank you, John, and I'm honored for your observations and your remarks. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Greenspan, you also have general public comment.
Mike Greenspan. Now, I have talked about a couple of a pothole, which I call jigsaw pieces, two of them together equal a pothole, and a jigsaw piece at the corner of Saticoy and Lankershim. They didn't repave the street, but they did fill a couple potholes all the times I've mentioned it. But they really need to pave Saticoy and Lankershim. Down the street, I'd say about half a mile down the street, at Vose and Lankershim, they repaved the street. Now that is practically an empty street. The biggest thing that happened right there at the corner of Lankershim and Vose was an illegal pot shop. It got closed down, so a lot of traffic's not there. The other is basically an industrial area, and if you go to the Laurel Canyon side, it's Tent City. So they really needed to do Saticoy over Vose if you're in that neighborhood in Council District 2. That Saticoy needs to be leveled out because it dips, and a lot of vehicles that are built low always scrape as they cross Lankershim at Saticoy. And I'm just here lobbying until they actually get some of it right and we get our streets paved in our neighborhood, the lower end of Krikorian's district, Council District 2. Now, I thank you. This time they only ticked off a second of my time. The last time I was here, we had a little dispute of them starting it early, and I got a little bit upset. You guys, I'm not going to see the vice president or the president pro tem anymore, or the other one who's absent. I just say that the attitude just sucked a dick like this. That's the way I look at the last meeting which Mike Davis chaired. Thank you. It sucked a dick.
All right, is that all for public comment?
Yes, Vice President Villegas,
Okay.
that's the end of our public comment.
All right, then let's close public comment and close neighborhood council comments. And let's move on to the approval of the minutes. If I could please get a second to my motion to approve the meeting minutes for Wednesday, October 9th.
Second.
All right, Ms. Zatorsky, we have a motion by myself and a second by
Great.
Commissioner Grant.
We'll take roll call starting with you, Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis,
Aye.
Commissioner Grant,
Aye.
and Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
Okay, all ayes, the item is adopted.
All right, then let's go on to item number 1. And for item number 1, we have Mike Greenspan. Public comment?
Mike Greenspan, yes, let me go into sidewalk vending because I've been giving lots of talks in various places. This is not the first place I've talked about sidewalk vending because I really have something about, I have no problems with sidewalk vending, but I do believe in a minimum width of any sidewalk we permit sidewalk vending. So you have the booths and the people shopping the booths, and I want an extra lane for the pedestrians to walk through. So we need enough of a width. Now, I hate to say it, we have the best example of what not to do over there at Alvarado between Wilshire and 7th. A very narrow thing that we should not have done. My solution to widen the sidewalks, yes, I would take away a street parking lane if it needed that much. Spaces first, but if you have to take away the whole street parking lane to widen the sidewalks, that's what you do. Because sidewalk vending's not bad, but you do need to have the sidewalks there for the pedestrians. That's my biggest gripe. We don't have to look like south of campus in the lip service Socialist Republic of Berkeley on Telegraph Avenue. That's a good example of a nice sidewalk for vending, for walking, and everything else. But let's look at Alvarado as our worst example of something we should either correct or close down or move to another location with a wider sidewalk. That's my only gripe about sidewalk vending, but it seems to fall on deaf ears. So I am really trying to get us to establish what would be an optimal minimum width of a sidewalk for sidewalk vending.
Thank you. All right, and Dr. Williams, you have comments for item number 1?
Dr. Williams for item number 1.
Okay, I guess we're talking about sidewalk vending. But here's one for you. It has to be ADA compliant. Lots of luck. I've already looked at Broadway. Wow, they're ADA compliance? Forget it. There ain't any. I would like to make an official Public Records Act request for any and all specifications by the Bureau of Contract Administration, the Bureau of Engineering, as to specifications and drawings for all ADA compliance issues. And that would be including the sidewalks and especially the ramps. I like ramps. So here's official. If you want it in writing, I can do that too. Just give me an email. And ADA compliance for all sidewalk vending. And I want it from, if you can give me a contact with the Bureau of Contract Administration, I'll go through them. Anyone, so that I can get real words that says what a ramp is and what sidewalk vending will do regarding access to ADA. That's all.
Thank you. All right, and we have Audit LA for item number 1.
City Attorney, just to let you know, I do give context or comparison and historical context if I'm interrupted, but it will be on topic. I do want to concur and to say ditto to everything this fine gentleman said. But, you know, I am going to go off topic here and say, Mr. Davis, I actually appreciate you. You know, my viewers and I, we don't want to see you go. We find you charming. You listen to us. You, when you hold the meetings, they go great. We really we love you and we want to keep you here. You know, I voted for you for president. I wanted you to take up so I hope you land somewhere really amazing where you continue to serve the people. So thank you, sir, for your service. I know it's been very long and distinguished. Thank you. That being said, and thank you for letting me get off topic for a moment, about the park vending, sidewalk and vending. You know, it's one of those balance things, you know what I mean? Like we love our vendors because, you know, it's independent little, you know, businesses that are struggling and we love them, you know, but we also want a city that is ADA compatible. We stand united on that. And I will bring in comparison, what if there was a vendor that would like to, do their vending on either L. Ron Hubbard Way or a fountain, and where they will be met with 250 planters that are not ADA compliant. You know, so we have to work together as a city. We have to help our small vendors. We support them, but we have to support the ADA community. Like we are here, and you know, and there's you know, and you can't just ignore it. It has to be taken care of. Oh, and I also want to real quick off topic, and it's okay, I don't mind being rebuked. Mr. Grant, thank you when that person was talking about the poll that you took the time to write it down. I saw you, I watched, we were all watching. You wrote it down, you paid attention, and you're not on a computer while the public speaks.
Thank you, Speaker. 2 minutes.
Thank you.
All right, let's start with item number 1, and this is with the Bureau of Street Services, and this will be in all districts. It's a revised rule and regulations sidewalk and park vending program, recommending that the board approve the revised rules and regulations for the sidewalk vending and forward them to City Council for its approval. And before us, good morning, Mr. Rivera. Will you be doing the presentation?
Morning, Commissioners. Angelo Yanko with the Bureau of Street Services.
Okay, we had the wrong name down. Welcome.
No problem. Just for background, in December 2022, a lawsuit entitled Community Power Collective et al. Versus City of Los Angeles et al. Was filed against the city, challenging certain sidewalk vending restrictions, including the application of no vending zones under our municipal code, as well as the sidewalk vending program's rules and regulations. Following negotiations, the City Council approved the settlement agreement on August 28, 2024. And as part of the terms of the settlement, the city agreed to amend the rules and regulations to 1. Remove the specific named restricted vending locations, or the no vending zones. 2. Remove the prohibition of sidewalk vending within 500 feet of all kindergarten, elementary, or secondary schools within the city. 3. Replace the 500-foot vending restriction for farmers markets, swap meets, and special event permit locations to a restriction of, quote-unquote, within the immediate vicinity of such events. 4, reduce the pedestrian passage requirement on sidewalks from 5 feet to 3 feet. And lastly, 5, remove the blanket prohibition of vending adjacent to red curbs. The report before you today requests approval of the revisions to the sidewalk vending rules and regs pursuant to the council-approved settlement agreement and forward them for council approval. Lastly, I'll mention that the deadline for the city to adopt these changes is December 8th, 2024. And I will pause there for questions. I'm also joined by my colleague, David Rivera, Chief Street Services Investigator.
Thank you. Commissioners, do we have any questions?
None for me.
Yeah, I didn't have any questions. I was fully briefed on this item. I really appreciate it. Do we have a motion to approve this item? All right, we have a motion by Mike Davis and a second by Commissioner Grant. Ms. Satorowski, if you could please take roll call.
Great. We'll take the roll call starting with you, Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Grant.
Aye.
And Commissioner Corsand.
Aye.
Wonderful. The item is all ayes. The item is adopted and carries forthwith.
Apologies, Commissioners. May we request that to go forthwith?
I'm sorry? Oh.
I think our executive officer clarified it already, but we just want to ensure that the board's approval today is done forthwith.
It is forthwith.
Thank
Yes, we said that. Yeah, thank you. All right, thank you. Glad those rules will be going in effect. All right, let's go on then to, we have a motion for item number 2, and we have Mr. Mike Greenspan for public comment.
Mike Greenspan. Yes, I live over there. I used to live in one of these districts. I didn't move. They moved the district. I used to live in District 6. So I'm down the street from the Bradley landfill. And when I first moved there, now I know it's not on the list, but when I first moved there, it was basically a hole. And now it's a mountain. I mean, they pile the trash, and they just piled it to the point there's a mountain. And when these land movers are there, they look like little toy pieces. That's how big that mountain has become over the years. And it used to be some days, even though I lived 2 miles from there, I could smell it because the wind would shift. Now, I know they had deodorizers and everything else, but folks, when that wind shifts, you smell it. You know what's in there. Years ago, the late Harry Coleman, who was at the time married to Bobby Fiedler, retired member of Congress, was talking about NFL football coming to L.A., and he said, L.A. gets the football team, and we get the garbage in the valley. So I see that you've got a couple of them, the Sheldon Arleta plant, I think they're closed, which other Lopez Canyon. I mean, we're just a warehouse of landfills in the San Fernando Valley with some homes and some businesses and everything else, but you go into the northeast section of the valley, it's landfill city, trash all over the place. Well, in the ground, reshaping the grounds. And it's We've always been against their expansion, and they expand and tell us how great they are at waste management with the Bradley landfill and how they're environmentally friendly and everything else, and do nothing but expand and expand and expand. I wish we had a way to burn the trash and then have energy instead of garbage.
Thank you. 2 minutes.
All right, and then we have Audit LA.
I mean, this is important that we, pay our bills. So I'm happy that we're being proactive to pay them in advance because we were here last week, 2 days ago, and we're paying bills from last fiscal year. So I'm glad we're doing that. Now, when it comes to landfills, I do agree. The valley has a lot of trash and it stinks, and but there's too much bulk trash all over the place, that it belongs in the landfill. And yes, I will mention yet again, because you know why I'm here, I will mention there's 251 planters that are not, they do not belong where they are at, and they belong in this landfill. And so I am going to ask again to please get the equipment out there and pick up these planters and put them, put them in the valley. That's fine. I'm okay with getting a little bit more trash. But also the bulk trash. The bulk trash, it's so hard, even for, I'm sure, this fine gentleman can attest. You're going around and all the bulk trash, it falls into the sidewalk. You can't get past. It's just horrible. They need to do a better job. And I get there's a lot of it, people, especially with the housing crisis, people losing their housing, they get evicted, everything goes out in the sidewalk. I get it, or they just want to flee this city. And so there's a lot of bulk trash. We need to do better. I don't know what the answers are, whether it's, hopefully hiring more people, but we also hear that sanitation, that you can't hire enough. People don't want the jobs. I don't know if that's the county level or whatever, but we need to hire more. We need to clear our streets. And not only you can't get through them, you also, because of the potholes and no curb cutouts or whatever, but you can't get through them because of just all the blocking with trash. You know how many beds? That's why I don't go anywhere hardly by myself, because somebody's got to move a bed for me.
Thank you, Speaker. Great.
Okay, do we have any on Zoom?
Yeah, we have 2 hands raised. Let's check. Caller Yvonne, do you have comment on item number 2?
Yes, and I'd also like to comment that I've been blocked on general comment and item number 1, and I do not appreciate that. Comment number 2, pay your bills, and also have education to the public about reducing the amount of waste they are creating, and make sure everything that can be recycled is. Item 1, I know you're past it, but paragraph 2J says that you can't set a device, a vendor 20 feet from a door or entrance. That is not clear enough, and you're going to have a problem, and it needs to be revised. 20 feet from the door, does that mean, or entrance, does that mean the walkway up to my house, or does that mean my front door? That lack of clarity is going to cause you problems in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. Next hand raised is caller Zoom user. If you have commentary on item number 2, you'll have 2 minutes for item number 2.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, through these meetings that I've been watching, I keep seeing all this money being approved for all of these things. Are they getting money to clean, yet they don't clean? What's up with that? Am I just ignorant? Because I know if I don't do my job, I get fired. I don't get a raise. I yield back my time.
Thank you. All right, Vice President, that's the end of our Zoom comments.
Okay, that is all. All right, item number 2 is in Council Districts 1, 4, 6, 7, and 15, and it's in AFE, South Coast Air Quality Management District, Bureau of Sanitation, and the Office of Accounting are requesting the board approval and execution of an authority for expenditure in the amount of $55,000 for the encumbrance of funds for payment of annual operating emissions fees, equipment permit fees for landfill operation at multiple Bureau of Sanitation locations, including Lopez Canyon Landfill, Bishop Canyon Landfill, Gaffey Landfill, Sheldon Arleta Landfill, Toyon Landfill for fiscal year 24-25 for the period of July 1, 2024 through June 30th, 2025. Authorize the president or two members of the board to execute this service agreement. And before us, I think we have Mr. Is this Andres Covarrubias?
Yes.
Welcome.
Good morning,
Good
Vice
morning.
President Villegas and Board of Public Work members. I'm here, or my name is Andres Covarrubias, representing Bureau of Sanitation, Solid Resources, Processing and Construction Division. SRPCD, for short, is responsible for the operation and maintenance of closed city-owned landfills. As mentioned, Lopez Canyon, Toyon, Bishop, Gaffey, and Sheldon. And these landfills have air pollution capturing systems from the South Coast Air Quality Management Districts that require permits. In order for the division to stay in compliance with SC AQMD, we are required to pay permit fees. So we're requesting $55,000, an increase of $10,000 from the previous fiscal years, and this is due to the increase every year, increase in fees, and also some contingency for any funds for permit application fees. If the fees are not paid, we'll get fined by SCA QMD, and these are to pay for administrative, engineering, and inspection services. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you. Do we have any questions, commissioners? I got a pair of bills. Thank you. Before you leave, let's just take a vote. Do we have a motion to approve this item? All right, I'll second. We have a motion by Commissioner Davis and a second by myself.
Great. We'll take the roll call starting with you, Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Grant.
Aye.
And Commissioner Corsand.
Aye.
Wonderful. All ayes. The item is adopted and carries forthwith.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. And does that clear our desk?
Yes, just to clarify, items 3, 4, 5, and 6 have been continued for 2 weeks. So we'll see that on a
All right.
forthcoming agenda.
Wonderful. And we will not have an executive management meeting after this, so we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.